Over 2 billion people live on planet Earth, but you, Lord, created us all different with unique gifts and talents that only we can share individually with the world. As young children, both Josh and Randa grew up singing in the church. Many years later, they met, married, and started a family, but never intended to sing and travel. But God had other plans for this talented family. After the death of Josh's father, the family coped by singing around the piano. Their harmony and faith together have soared around the world and has led them through an amazing journey, taking them to the #1 on the Billboard Southern Gospel chart. This is their story. This is today's Nashville. This is faith. Josh and Randa, what a pleasure to sit down with you here in Nashville. You guys are an internet sensation and you're traveling the world with your new music.
With our family.
Yes.
It's so nice to meet you.
It's
So
our
nice to meet
pleasure.
you.
Thanks for having us.
So let's go back, in a world of followers and numbers and internet and, a lot of times, people are really struggling with that, trying to get their platform. It just came natural to you. What happened?
Thanks to her.
Well, I started playing the piano and singing when I was about 6. And I was raised in church, and my grandmother played, and our family sang at church and stuff like that. So I just had a passion to sit at the piano and sing and play. And whenever social media became a thing, I thought, I'm going to just record some of my favorite songs and put them on my Facebook wall, And so I did a song and put it up there, and it got like 70-something thousand views on it. It was just me, singing a song I loved, and I was just talking and sharing. And the next thing you knew, our kids had already been kind of singing with us a little bit at church and stuff. They kind of started wanting to go live when the live feature came out. And the rest is history. We had some videos go viral, and people just wanted more. They were like, when are you going live again? When are you going live again? So it just took off.
So you just started before all the Facebook Live and started growing. And
It really did.
Yes.
and so what, how did you start growing and you started your music and you started touring? And so tell me about that.
Well, that's kind of a long story and somewhat a sad story almost, but joy in the end. And my dad suddenly passed away back in 2009, and of course it was a big shock to us and a time of grief. And we were actually, the week after we buried my dad, we were on our way to church listening to the radio, and a song come on the radio. And it was the DJ actually said, "This is not a release. I just feel like somebody needs to hear this today."
Yes.
He played a song, and we were just boo-hooing in the car. It was just, it was like God sat down in the car with us and began comforting us right there. And the boys, they were so young, but they loved the song, and they was like, let's learn this and let's sing this to Nana. It meant so much to
What was the
all of
song?
us.
What was
It's
it?
called Dealing with Gold. It
By
was
the
by the
Inspirations,
Quartet.
yes.
They were big quartet fans as
They
kids. They
loved
loved
it.
the bass, the tenor, all that, big quartet fans. And so we was like, wow, we'll try that, And so anyway, we learned the song, and we went to my mama's church, and the pastor's like, I think the Jordans and their kids want to come up and sing a song. And so we did, and there was a pastor there from another church that's like, wow, we want you to come to our church and sing that song. Well, we went there, and there was 2 pastors there. We want y'all to come to our church. And that began the Jordan family band. It absolutely
Yes.
started like that and just kept picking up momentum. And
It started
days.
at such a sweet place, you know,
Yeah.
from grief. And we didn't have to force the kids to do anything or like train them or practice all the time. It came so natural to them. And they heard parts. And then our middle son,
How many kids do you have?
we have 3 boys,
Okay.
Hutch, Alex, and Grant. So at that time, Hutch and Alex, our 2 oldest, were the 2 in the car, the baby. He was just the baby, you know, he didn't really know what was going on.
How old were they?
I think that's what I was going to say. They were, I think 12?
12.
Oh, young.
No. 10, 5, and then baby.
Yeah, baby.
10, 5.
Very
and
young,
Yeah.
very young. So, I mean, this was many years ago. So, but our middle son just had a voice. Like, we were like, what? And he would sing and knew the words to the songs. And at 5 years
5.
old,
At 5.
4 really, he started singing a little bit. But when his dad passed, we started learning more songs like the quartet music and stuff. And it just came natural for them. And they loved it. And we enjoyed it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
wasn't work. It was just, we enjoyed it, and we sang from here. And so did the boys. So it just kind of all
It
came
did.
together so beautifully.
It did.
How old are they now?
Hutch is 22, Alex is
There you
16,
go.
and our then baby is 14.
So let's talk about how God moved your band and how it really started and where God has taken you.
He started it there
In that car?
in that car.
Can I just go back for a sec, though?
Yeah.
Right before his dad passed away, when Alex, our middle son, was 4, we were at your parents' house. And like I say, I've been playing the piano for a while. And we were gathered around the piano, and we did sing a song called Love That Won't Stop. And he knew a little bit of it. You know, he's 4 years old. He hears music, he sings it. And he stood there and sang, and his dad was in the floor playing with him. And he started tearing up. And that's really where it all started. And so before his dad passed, he actually got to see a little bit of that come to life.
sweet.
Yeah.
But then, like the car situation after his dad did pass, that's when it really just all was born. And it's just been amazing. I mean,
has.
it's just been amazing.
So after that, what happened?
After that, like I said, a few pastors started calling, hey, we want
Yep.
you guys to come and sing in our church. And I told Rand, I was like, you know what? If we're going to go to these churches, we better buy.
I'll play the piano,
we better
you play
buy
the bass.
a couple speakers and a couple microphones, and I'll get a bass. And well, we started this, and all of a sudden, Hutch, the oldest son at the time, he just could start playing it.
Yeah, he
Never
started
had
naturally.
lessons. Just started
Yeah,
playing.
the acoustic.
Yeah.
And then the bass.
And
It was
then we was like,
crazy.
okay, you come in and play the guitar, I'll play the bass, and you sing some. And then Alex is like, well, I can sing. And so Alex grabbed a little mandolin, started chopping it, and then he just had this, like she said, this incredible tenor voice.
Yeah.
And just when we would start, he would hear the other part and just start singing it. And I guess he really become the sensation. Really.
Yes, he was just the vocal, you know. It
And,
was, and Hutch was the music talent. I look back now, just thinking about it when we're talking about it. It's just such a miracle. And Hutch, you know, our oldest son, he could play the drums really well, and he had Eddie Bayers was
That's
his
right.
main man. But he could play the drums, but we never saw him picking up the guitar, then the bass, and then Alex, our middle son, coming up and singing. I mean, we just literally were standing back praising the Lord. I mean, it just all came together.
I love how God has brought you from grief. We're going to talk about grief and how you dealt with it, because I know a lot of people struggle with that, especially when your dad died suddenly.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that when we come back. Josh, Randa, we talked a little bit about your grief and how your dad suddenly passed away. You know, years ago, my mom passed away suddenly, and it just took my breath away. And even if, when we're older, you think that you can handle it a little bit better, but it took me months. And, you know, there'd be times where you just break down, and, you know, even months later.
Oh, yeah.
And it was sudden. So you went through that. Share with me what you all went through and how you handled it.
Well, he was my dad, but he became Papa so quick. He was everybody's Papa. And he was so infectious to be around. I think that's the word. You look, everybody that got around him wanted to be around him. And I'll never forget that night when the phone rang in the middle of the night and Mama said, "You better get to the hospital. It's Dad, it's Dad." And I backed my truck out in the road. And when I pulled it down and drive, it's like I felt the Lord wrap his arms around me. And he said, "Just settle down, son. I've got this. Everything's going to be okay." And I knew in that moment that was it. He wasn't coming back home. And it's like the Lord was preparing me to be strong for the family and be there for them. I went on to the hospital, and I got to hold his hand. And in that moment, you feel like you lose such an important part of your life. I mean, he's the one that if I ever had any questions, if I ever, needed anything, advice, he was always there. You know that. And you feel that loss just in that moment. You feel like you're alone. And but it's like the whole time I kept holding on to my faith. And Dad was a preacher for so many years, and it's like he prepared us for that moment through the years. Be ready to fully lean on the Lord. All this stuff's going to go away. All this stuff's going to vanish. And in the end, it's just going to be the Lord. And so that was really the strength through all of it that got us through it. And then knowing, if in this life only we have hope, we're of all men most miserable. Yes. Our hope is not in this world. My hope is seeing him again, knowing I'll see him again, knowing I'll see him again. And those things are things that makes me want to go.
Randa, what about you? How'd you handle it?
Well, I was close to his dad in a special way through the children, especially. Like, he was such a teddy bear, the papa, like you said. But I saw a little part of Josh. I don't know if you'd lost just a small part of yourself when we buried him. It was the night of the funeral, after the funeral that night. And he went out there to the graveyard because we was at the church most of the day, and you went out there and just fell on your knees and it was a wail. I mean, you could hear it.
How long ago was this?
This was in 2009, so I don't know exactly
15th.
how many years.
Yeah, and I'd held together. From that moment, I went through the process of being there for Mom and the family, getting everything ready, and I was kind of the strong one through the whole process, setting up all the arrangements and everything, and it's like I really
kind of held it together a little bit.
And all of a sudden, in that moment that she's talking about.
For me, yes, when he did that out there and you just wailed, and it's like you almost just let go too as well, and said, "You know what, it's okay because I do have the Lord. I do have the Holy Spirit to comfort me." Then I watched him just build stronger and stronger in prayer and in the Word. He said, "It's going to be okay because even though I don't have my earthly father, I have my heavenly Father, and now I'm going to lean more on him, on the Heavenly Father." So it was amazing to watch him grow through that grief, and it helped me be stronger as well.
What would you say to somebody, and I know you've shared already what you would say a little bit, but what would you say to somebody that right now is in the spot that you were?
Just allow the Heavenly Father to be exactly what he said and what he promised he'd be. He promised us he'd be a father to the fatherless, and be there for the widows, be there for every one of our needs. He said, "Casting all your cares upon me because I care for you." And that's every detail. That's the small things, that's the big things, that's everything. He cares for us in every way. So just fully rely on him.
And so you took that grief and sat around the piano, and God has an amazing journey from that point on.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Oh my. Yes, that grief, our ministry was born out of grief, but we poured our hearts into our music and our children and helped them grow in the Word and in song, and we just poured it out around the piano with instruments.
Couldn't wait to share with others the hope that we had received and the help that we had received. We
wanted to so badly.
Yeah, we couldn't wait. It was every week was like, okay, it's coming up on Wednesday night. What are we going to do this week? What are we going to sing?
Okay, so 3 boys. We have 4, And
Bless your heart.
yes, yes, yes. So, how did they handle all this?
Wow.
And even the
Hutch.
teenage years, and
Yeah.
you know,
It was definitely harder on the oldest son.
They were best friends.
Wow. It was every day Papa picking him up at school, all that kind of stuff. So it definitely was harder on him at the time. The middle son was around 5, and he didn't really comprehend exactly what was going on, but he knew something was not going to be,
Yes.
that special
same.
anymore. And then the baby, of course, didn't know. But growing up, they remember such a legacy that he had. It's been so
And
special.
we talk about him often.
Yeah.
So, but they've handled it very well. But Hutch will break down sometimes, our oldest. But we also just know it's because of Poppy that we're on the path we're on. We have gratitude for that as well, that something so sad can turn into something joyful that can help something develop like it has.
well, as young parents with 3 teenage boys and bringing them together at this time, and they were younger. How did you share your faith with them? Did they understand that they would see your dad again or Papa again?
Yes, they did.
We talk about heaven all the time.
Wow.
Raised in church and around godly family, they just knew. They knew we was going to see him again, and it's just instilled in their hearts to believe in the life after death and heaven.
Well, God has done an amazing thing in your lives, and when we come back, we're going to talk about numbers. Numbers is such an important part of our culture, and you have a lot of numbers, and we're going to talk about it right after the break. Josh and Randa, from the piano, you went to millions. You have a new single coming out. What's it about?
Heaven.
That's it. We've talked about it the whole interview.
Yes,
So.
we've talked about heaven, and it's called I Want to Go, and it's beautiful.
You want to sing a little
I would
bit?
love to. I would love to.
You go ahead.
So it says, I want to see the face of the one for me chose grace. In death he took my place. If you want to know, that's why I want to go.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is, and the verses build into that. It talks about a lot of what we've touched on, how you lose family members or friends throughout life, and that all makes us want to go to heaven, but the real reason is to see his face in the end.
And that's our newest radio release.
Yeah.
Just went from debut of, what's the numbers?
It's at number 20 on the singing news chart. It jumped from number 55 to number 20.
Yay!
Well, let's go back and talk about your music career now. From the piano, where did God take you?
Oh my goodness.
From the piano to a 5-piece band, right?
Right.
And I've been to listen to some of your videos. Oh my goodness. The one, Hope for the World.
Yes.
Oh, in the times that we are living, that song is so powerful. Everybody needs to
Hope
hear.
for the world, healing for all.
Yes.
He wrote that.
Yes, I love that song. So everybody
Thank you so
needs to go
much.
see that. So let's talk about that.
It went from me sitting at the piano doing my little thing on social media to the family coming in. We had a video go viral back in 2016, and we were just shocked. We were on our phones like, look, 10,000 more views, and it just grew and grew and grew, and it took people to our website. We had a website at the time, and then we was like, we've got to get a little more professional, don't we? Just maybe a little bit. So, but we still remained ourselves. We're just down to earth country folk
Well, you have
from Georgia.
a gorgeous, gorgeous family.
Thank you.
And they're all together. You
Yeah.
have one son that's married, and now
Yes.
she's part of the band.
Yes.
Oh, and she's so talented. Her name's Heather Rose, and she's a rose. She's beautiful, talented, and just fits right in.
You
It's
know what?
just
She
God.
looks like she fits right in.
Yes, ma'am.
I
She
mean,
does.
That was a great transition.
I thought maybe she was a daughter.
Well,
she-
thank you. Well, she is daughter in love.
Yeah.
But she just brings so much to the band too, because we all have unique tones to our voices, I feel, But then when you all bring it all together, it's just beautiful, you know. So the Lord's just done such a work with the Jordan Family Band.
Yes.
I mean, people hear our music and they invite us to this event and that event. And then, you know, we've had some labels talk to us, and we've just been in such shock at what the Lord has done. And we're just so grateful and humbled by
Well,
it.
you know, I love your mission behind your band. Can you tell me about that?
To bring hope and healing to the world. And through
Absolutely.
just being relatable with people, that we felt like in the beginning, that's what kind of launched the numbers, as you say, a little more, was people was just seeing a real side of us.
We were vulnerable.
And we're
You know.
talking millions.
Yeah.
Millions of views.
I mean,
and-
one video in particular, you know, got up to 13, 14 million views, and we was like, and so it was, you know, you'd go to Dollywood, hey, the Jordan Family Band. You'd go to a shopping mall, hey guys, you know, and we was like, and then we were just down to earth and relatable with them, you know, and it just felt like that's what they love.
Yes, and every season of our lives, we go through many seasons. I had some ups and downs in my life, and I would share those. I would share my story, and I would break down and cry. You know, it was real, and I would read from the scriptures, and I just started telling people what they needed to do, what I did that helped me, prayer, getting in the Word, and I would tell them my favorite scriptures, like Jeremiah 33:3.
Let's talk about it. What is it?
It's call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great mighty things which thou knowest not. So that's one of my 333 is my numbers,
That's right.
And Josh's is Joshua 24:15.
That's exactly right.
And what does it say?
As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Absolutely.
And that is so important, because we really need that in our families, in our
yes.
homes
We do.
today.
Yes.
You know, the families, and they're struggling.
They are.
You know, they're
We
living
will-
in fear, and you're giving them hope.
Yes, we want to really preach a message in the homes out there, and you know, the younger generations that are just now married and having their children. I would hope that we could be an inspiration to them and an encouragement, and continue to do those lives, and different people see them and be encouraged. I mean, the messages I get from people, if I didn't see your video, I don't know what I've done, you know, and you've just encouraged me. You have no idea I was in such a dark place. You know, thank you. Just because we popped on live for 10 minutes, you know, it's amazing. And so we want to continue to uplift and encourage people.
Well,
and
where's
families.
God taking you?
We're just hanging on for the
To
ride.
the stars.
We're hanging on. It's been so wonderful to see everything, how it come together in His plan. You know, at a certain time, Alex was singing tenor with us. Well, he started losing the ability to sing tenor. He was going through that voice change. So he was such a phenomenal drummer. He wanted to play the drums. Well, here comes Heather Rose along, grabs that other part, marries into the family, and it just keeps on going. God just
Yes.
keeps on taking
We'll
us in His
go
direction.
wherever He leads, and wherever there is a door open. You know, we have a tour bus.
Yeah.
We have the instruments. We have good health and strength, and we want to keep going and growing.
How did you get to Nashville? And I heard a story in the background. Didn't you propose to her in Nashville, or honeymoon?
We had our honeymoon in Nashville and ran off the median when we went around that curve. That's another story for another
Precious
time.
memories.
Well, you know, Gordon Mote, he's a producer, piano player, played on many records, produced many records. He messaged me not too long ago, and he said, I would love to produce y'all. So we came to Nashville, and our record, Little More Love, he produced that, and it just really opened some doors for us. And he brought out something in our family. Man,
Yeah.
He'd put the shine on some things,
Well,
didn't he?
yeah.
He's
and
amazing.
it went from, you know, that little family around the piano, which we're still who we are, but, you know, we got the call, hey, you guys are nominated for a Dove Award with Carrie Underwood, Harry Connick
Right.
Jr., the Isaacs, and we're like, what? You know, how did this, what's going on, you know? And
amazing.
God just keeps giving those little nuggets here and there, you know. See, I told you, if you'll just rely on me, I'll take care of the rest.
Well, I can't wait to see what God is going to do, and bless you with everything that you're doing. I just want to thank you.
Thank you
you.
for having us so much.
My friend, you know, sometimes in social media, we look at all the numbers, but I want you to know that you are unique, you are one of a kind, and the Lord loves you, He sees you, He knows you, and I want to encourage you, no matter what you do, whether it's word or deed, do it for Him, and give Him the honor and glory. This is today's Nashville. This is faith.
Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.